Hello, people. Alright, sorry, just sending the tweet out for the stream. Yes, guys. Hello, hello, hello. And hi from Hungary. Damn. How you doing? How you doing? Hungary. Who's your favourite Hungarian player? My favourite Hungarian player is... Ooh. On Sorare, probably Orban. He's very good, isn't he? In real life... Maybe Szoboszlai. I think that's quite an easy answer, though, isn't it? Perhaps. Alright, so, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is my attempt, should we say, of trying to stream Sorare as regularly as possible to, yeah, bring the streaming Sorare community to life, essentially. Because I feel like at the moment, or as things have been going, I've only been streaming Sorare on a Friday, and it just feels kinda rubbish. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna try and stream Sorare at least 2 or 3 times a week now. So I'm gonna regularly stream on a Monday. And I'm going to try and regularly stream on a Thursday to help line up builds. So these Monday streams are essentially going to be recapping the weekend and also talking about potential future signings on Sorare that would be good, or how the weekend's gone, or how I foresee the next fixtures or set of fixtures going. And then after that, it's going to be on Thursday is going to be me helping viewers with lineups, and then on Friday is the usual deadline stuff. So that's essentially what I'm going to be trying to do from here on in the future, and yeah, pretty much. Yeah, easy answer is Subslay. Yeah, it's probably too easy, isn't it? I probably should have went with someone more niche like Dardai or something like that. But our talent has just signed with Bournemouth. Really, that do you know what? That's something that I should do on these streams as well. Is have a look at transfer news. So let me load up. Maybe what do you reckon, Fabrizio? Probably a good one, isn't it? Let's load him up. Because the reason why I like this as well is because I can also update myself on stuff that I might have missed. So, Paris Saint-Germain proposal. Okay, interesting. Ooh, there we go. Girona have signed to Stegen. That's interesting, isn't it? So who's currently Girona's goalkeeper? Is it still yeah, Big Gaz? He's been doing pretty poor, hasn't he? So ter Stegen's probably going to be starting for them. I wonder what the Sorare market has said about that. Has he been flying up in price? Sales history. Oh my god, look at this. There we land. Actually, maybe not a crazy amount, but oh yeah, okay. So about an hour ago, we had the who was first to see the news. Flower trading. Oh, to be fair though, 4 hours ago, yeah, £13. So it looks like he was about still quite a lot to be fair. 15, 20 quid. I guess he used to be maybe a tenner. Yeah. And now he is looking at about probably double. You probably doubled your money if you invested in a Testegen before the transfer window. Yeah, quite easily. Who have you got? Toth Alex has just went to Bournemouth. This one? Ooh, 20 years old. Coming off the bench a few times. Ferran Verosh. No. Hungary. Oh, yeah, he did play for Hungary, didn't he? Okay. Off the bench. Hey, he does look pretty decent, doesn't he? Is this the, what league did he play in? What league is this? The Hungarian league, or? I'm not familiar with this. Ferran. Ah, Hungarian league, yes. I feel like I've heard of that team, but no, I don't think I have actually. No, I don't watch Hungarian football to be honest with you, but here we go. So this guy's gone to Bournemouth, yeah. Or he's going, or is he just linked with them? Yeah, the best team in Hungary. Okay, that's why I've heard of this team. I think this is the only team I've heard of in this league. So that's probably why. Well, that's probably why I've heard of them if they are the best team. So we got Testegen to Girona. We've got Justin. Oh, he Feyenoord. Yeah, Feyenoord keeper to Genoa. Tottenham manager Thomas Frank excludes again. Matthias Tell to Champions League. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Matthias Bogusz. Houston Dynamo. Damn boy. What a legend. What a legend he is. Interesting. Amrabat to Seville. Mongehi joining Man City, no surprise there. Damn, what a signing. What a signing. Interesting, okay, so some interesting news. So for the Premier League this weekend, got a game obviously tonight, but I do want to talk about pretty much this weekend, how I think the Premier League went, and then the next set of fixtures and who might be good or who surprised me, who's done well, that sort of stuff. So kicking things off with the Man United Man City game, I did watch this game, and to be honest, Man City looked extremely flat. To be honest, it looked like a first half was kind of like a you could see it being a draw. Like no team really deserved to win, but if you had to pick one, probably picking Man U. And then at that point, you are expecting at half time, you're expecting, all right, Pep will get into them, City will come out and do something, or just play better. And it actually kind of went the other way, where Man City arguably looked worse in the second half, and Man U excelled. So, yeah, very surprising. I'll be the first to admit I did not expect Man U to beat Man City. In terms of Sorare and things like that as well, we had, if we'll have a look at, I probably should just go a Man City player, get up the scores, have a little look. So in terms of Sorare, this is how Sorare had the scores down. We had, yeah, Dorgu, to be fair, 97, the best scorer. I'm not surprised. Dorgu had a great match, to be honest. What a shout from Michael Carrick as well, because I think most managers or most people would have expected perhaps Cunha to play out wide, but Dorgu was phenomenal, wasn't he? And he had something that Cunha doesn't offer. Cunha always offers the ability to just, he doesn't need teammates sometimes, he can just pick up the ball and run with it, and he can create goals from nothing. He's, obviously a great finisher, but Dorgu's a completely different element, and I think he caused Semenyo and Rico Lewis a lot of issues that game because he was so like, instead of being like Cunha would have played on the inside, like trying to get shots off, and Dorgu was like the opposite, obviously pretty much hugging the touchline and creating a space for Bruno and Buemo to find and exploit. So I think, to be honest, Man U fans should be very happy with the way that they played. It'll be interesting to see if their next lineup, if they include Dorgu or not. And I think the wide players are the reason they won this game. So I'd be surprised if they didn't include both of them because of the way that they just pretty much hugged the touchline, and then that forced the defenders to also go out and mark them, and it just created so much problems in the mid, like in the through the center of the pitch. So where obviously if you've got players like Bruno in that advanced role, can just be so damaging. And yeah, I think City will learn a lot from that game, but definitely a demoralising one for them. So it was an interesting start to the week, to be honest. I don't know about you, but or you guys or whoever's in chat. Did you guys expect City to win that? Because I expected City to win that. I think most people did. But man, new manager bounce. You know what I mean? Yeah, the best team in Hungary. Semenyo's minutes as City are a little risky. No, yes, they are. Yeah, Semenyo. But the thing is, so from a City, okay, so that's from a United perspective. Great result. Probably gonna find a similar team to this play in most games, except you might see Cunha rotated as the 12th man for whoever's tired. And then from a City perspective, obviously Semenyo's just come in. I don't think he can't play in the Champions League anyway. I don't think so anyway. So their next match will be a Champions League one, I believe. So from a City perspective, yeah, they're playing Bodeglimt. I don't think he's allowed to play in this game. I could be wrong, Semenyo. But I would anticipate rotation anyway, especially if they're traveling to Norway. But in my eyes, I don't know. Like, I, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting because, in my opinion, obviously, the back line is the issue, right? Um, Quite evidently. I think some people might point to maybe Bernardo Silva, like before the game had been played, they would say, oh, maybe Cherky for Silva, and then you've got like, but then that's extremely attacking. So yeah, and especially with the defensive frailties that they have at the moment, it's like you kind of need a Bernardo Silva in there. But yeah, Max, he was not the best, to be fair, the youngster. But obviously they got Mark Gahey coming in now. So yeah, I think City, to be honest, from a City perspective, I don't think they'll be too worried. I think it's more of like a they know they need to improve the back line anyways. So a Man U were just the better team on the day. But Semenyo, I obviously I don't think his minutes will be that. I don't know. I don't know. I think his minutes will be fine. I think he'll play because him and Dorgu out wide is scary. I know you've got Cherky, but I think Cherky just rotates with the middle in the middle as opposed to on the wings. Um, and outside of that, I'm not seeing anyone else who could threaten Semenyo's starting position because you've got like Reinders and Cherky who would rotate with either Foden and Silva. Um, and unless I'm missing someone, Oscar Bob and Savinho are like rotation in my eyes. So yeah, I don't know. Marmouche rotates with Haaland. I think Semenyo's minutes will be fine. Obviously, he's not going to get the minutes that he did at Bournemouth, but that's because he played every minute of every game at Bournemouth. You know what I mean? So I anticipate he'll get probably subbed off more often, but I still think he should start. You know, quite a lot of games. Semenyo is a like unbelievable player, and there's no way they're signing him and not playing him. You know, so yeah. Then the Chelsea game, I didn't watch this game actually. I didn't see this one. I did watch the highlights, and to be honest, Garnacho's a weird one, isn't he? He's like, he's just so, what's the word? He's kind of a nice player to have, to be honest, in terms of like a, he's a good like squad player because it's like one game like this game he can be awful, but then the next game he can just win you the game on his own. So he's just a bit of a weird one, but he's like kind of good to have as a squad player to be honest because he's like, especially when you're playing a second team, sometimes it's good just to throw on just to be like, oh, just go and win the game for us, you know what I mean? That type of vibe. But he's not like, he's not the, I'll put it like this, he's not the type of player you want in your team if you're playing against Barcelona, but he's the type of player you want in your team if you're playing against like Fulham, for example, because it would just be like, okay, you're going to get outclassed against Barcelona in this one fixture, but then you might be able to rotate in for, you know, when we need you against like a lesser of a team and just take over the game. So yeah, from what I saw on the highlights, God actually didn't look too good in this one, but outside of him, looks pretty good. Palmer, obviously with that penalty as well, which yeah, it was interesting. I think Brentford perspective as well. They probably would have, you know, actually to be fair, Brentford have been playing very very good recently. I think they would have expected. I mean, I think they kind of got what they would have thought. You know, put a lot of effort in, but realistically, away from home against Stamford Bridge, it's always going to be tough. I don't think they'll be too disheartened by that result. And from a Brentford perspective, who have they got next? They've got Nottingham Forest. They'll be licking their lips at this fixture, especially with Villa and Newcastle away. That'll be tough. I think from a Brentford perspective, they'll be hopeful this is a 3 points, and then probably hopeful to get 1 point out of these two. So maybe in their next three, they'll be aiming for 4 points, which I think is realistic. Maybe they'll be setting their standards a bit higher, but I think realistically, 4 points in their next three is going to be quite good. And you'd argue with Arsenal there, it's also going to be an extremely tough game. So perhaps 5 points in their next four games, they'll probably be content with, although they've been performing really well. So perhaps aiming for six. You know, 2 wins out of the next couple of games would be nice for them. Sharda, obviously, essentially being one of their star players in my eyes, with Coyote as well. And in terms of Sorare, I'll be interested to see how they're scoring despite losing 2-0. So we'll just have a look at João Pedro maybe, and have a look at the... Yeah, so João Pedro not really scoring that well at Chelsea, which is because he's been asked to play such a different role to what he did at Brighton. When he was at Brighton, he was more kind of like the Palmer role. Like he sort of played up top, but never really. Do you know what? Pedro reminded me of like Harry Kane almost at Brighton. He was like coming, dropping deep. He was everywhere pretty much. But for Chelsea, I'm guessing by the fact that he's only scored a 60 makes me think that he's just sat up top all game, and perhaps that's what they're asking him to do. And this is the exact reason I don't really like forward cards that are strikers on Sorare. This kind of epitomizes it for me because I feel like as a striker, as a forward card on Sorare, you're either going to score as a striker, you're either going to score 60 with a goal or 32, or say 32, like 40 to 30. Whereas like wingers tend to score better AA at least, and obviously have a good chance of getting decisive. Players like Neto, it's like, okay, he's got 45 here, but had he have got the decisive on top of it, you know, he's looking at 70 odd points. So yeah, generally speaking, I do always prefer to have the full wingers as the forward cards in Sorare, just for that pure reason there of the scoring matrix just being either like quite one-dimensional in that fact, like 30, 40, or 60 for most strikers. Um, would be interested to see though what strikers don't conform to that norm. Do you know what I mean? What strikers can get AA as well, and do they play perhaps like more of a Kane role in their team? I don't know. I watched this match. Oh, nice. Enzo was on fire. Yeah, to be expected. Enzo was on fire with so many passes. Yeah, I mean Enzo, he's probably gonna be your like first choice for any Chelsea stack, I would assume. I think Yeah, if you own a Chelsea collection, I'm assuming Enzo is like the first name that goes in there. Because most Chelsea stacks, like say for this game, obviously I don't know what the predicted lineup was, but if you own a Chelsea stack, I'm assuming that you've went with Sanchez. You've probably gone Cucurella, or I guess Reece James is always in an iron whether or not he starts. But I would assume you've probably gone Reece James or Cucurella, which I guess depends which one you went. It depends how your weekend went. Then you've defo got an Enzo. I think he's like nailed. Then probably Palmer, haven't you? And then your extra is probably where I guess it differentiated between user to user, because you're probably either going double forward with João Pedro or perhaps double defender if you're feeling like the clean sheet will do well. I think either way you've because you're probably taking a centre half at that point. So I think either way, if I had a Chelsea stack, I essentially would have scored pretty similar either way, because I'm assuming if I had a Chelsea stack, I would have probably went Sanchez, James, Enzo, Palmer, and I probably would have taken a centre half, whichever one was more likely to play. Which isn't the best stack you could have done this game week, because taking Pedro would have been the better option, or even Caicedo as the extra, which people might have done because Caicedo is probably a bit more of a nailed starter, but I'm personally not really going double midfielders too often. But you're likely to have captained Enzo or Cole Palmer. So if you've done that, then I assume a lot of Chelsea stacks done pretty well this game week. I don't see why they wouldn't have. But yeah, so yeah, from a Brentford perspective, I don't think they'll be too disheartened. From a Chelsea perspective, obviously expect crazy. Maybe perhaps not a crazy rotation for the Champions League, because they are still in London and the next game is still in London. So perhaps not the crazy amount of change in this one. Although if they don't need to win this game, they probably won't risk it. 10 points. Yeah, I think they're. Paphos are not that bad of a team, to be fair. They're just outside of it. If I'm the Chelsea manager, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not making I probably agree with this. They'll have a couple of the big names still in there. Be interested to see if Sorare Insider's got the Chelsea one. He has. Yeah, he's kind of thinking the same as me. You'd have a couple of the key guys in there. Yeah, that's still an extremely strong team that you expect to beat Paphos, right? But yeah, so Chelsea perspective, they'll be hopeful to win against Palace as well, but based on Palace's form, couple of Champions League game, and then same with West Ham again, another game in London. So and then another game in London. So a lot of not much travel for Chelsea, other than of course the Italy fixture. So I think Chelsea will probably be looking good the next 5 games or so. Tough games, but obviously one of them being an EFL Cup, which you don't have on the Sorare site. They don't cover this one, but West Ham and Palace, they'll be licking their lips for that one. So interesting. And then up next in the Premier League, let's have a look. What was the next game? Oh, Felix Nemecha with a fantastic finish, wasn't it? I love Nemecha, and I'm surprised he doesn't get started more. But I like from the outside looking in. I haven't watched every Leeds game, but I've watched a lot of Leeds. Not just this season, in the past couple of years, probably the last 3 to 4 years. I've watched games in and out of Leeds. Not surprised the keeper got dropped, because the keeper's been pretty poor recently, but it's just like Streak and Ampadu. Them two are just golden for Leeds, aren't they? Generally speaking, the midfield of Leeds is the thing that will be, if they do stay in the Premier League, it will be largely down to their midfield, in my opinion. And then Calvert-Lewin usually is the man for them, but this time it's Nemecha, who I feel like has been very, very decent for them. Although I can't say that. I feel like, so a lot of these would have been off the bench. So he's actually started 6 and scored 5, but I'm assuming he's the type of guy that has done really poorly when he started games, but does really well off the bench, almost like Harvey Barnes for Newcastle. Let's see if that is true. So a goal off the bench, of course, in the most recent. Then he scored against City when he started. Okay, no, he's not like Barnes. So he started these 3 and scored 3 in a row. So probably quite unfortunate. And of course, he's essentially lost his spot to Noah Okafor, hasn't he? Who I haven't seen much of. Has he done well? 2 goals in 14 starts? Not really the best. Obviously, we know Noah. We know Noah's more of he's a higher profile player. Perhaps offers more than just goals to the team, but seems a bit of a shame for Nemecha not to be getting more game time from the outside looking in. And yeah, from a Sorare perspective for Leeds anyway, you're probably, let's have a look. Did you have a good weekend? Probably not, because the forward option likely let most Leeds stacks down with Calvert-Lewin. I'm guessing that's who they would have went with. The goalkeeper rotation obviously probably would have killed a few lineups as well. Yeah, I'd say, because I don't know how many people would have chose James Justin, um, despite him scoring very, very well. I think Ampadu and Struijk are like the 2 men you want. Ampadu, yeah, defender card, yeah. So probably going, if I like, I'm just trying to think from my perspective. If I had a lead stack, it would likely have been Darlow, well, goalkeeper, Struijk, Ampadu, and then hmm. Oh, yeah, because none of the midfielders scored well. Because you've got Bogle is a defender card, of course. Goodmanson defender as well. Lots of defenders from Leeds. Justin defender, Roden. So yeah, I guess you would have went Gruev, but he didn't really score that well. Um, yeah, almost certainly you almost have to go double defender with Leeds, don't you? With how many defenders they're playing. But yeah, Fulham perspective, just just weird. Fulham are just weird, aren't they? Like, feel like they're just coasting through the Premier League. Like, I know they've been doing decent. Like, it's just Fulham are the type of team that a little bit frustrates me, but not like in a bad way. It's more of like a they've clearly got a good system and a good manager, and they don't have much money. But it's kind of like, I don't know. Sometimes I wish we would just see. There's too many teams like this that are just like, I don't know what the right word is, but like just sort of there in the Prem. They're not really like, they're just happy to be there kind of vibe, you know. Um, I wish there was more teams like say Brentford that were like, okay, this season's probably like a bit of an anomaly to action this, but like Brentford are like going for it. You know what I mean? They're not happy just to be in the Prem. They're like, okay, we don't have much money, we don't have the best manager. You know, we might not have the best system, but we're gonna. Well, actually, that's a complete lie. They probably have one of the best systems in the Prem. But like, you know what I mean? They're a team where they're like, okay, we're trying to go places. You get that vibe anyway. Whereas teams like Fulham, just a bit like, what are we doing here? You know, like, is it just you're just trying to survive? So yeah, a bit of a poor result for Fulham, but again away from home. So, and especially off the back of their recent form, I don't think they'll be too disheartened. But yeah, just a bit uninspiring, perhaps. Um, Smith Rowe looks like he's got injured, but yeah, if you've got Fulham stacks, it's probably what Leno, Wacky Manderson, Wilson. I guess you have to go Jimenez and then Robinson. how that scored on Sorare, you would have got Leno 44, 52, Robinson done poorly, Wilson done okay. It was okay. It was okay. You might have had Smith Rowe as opposed to Wilson, but I suppose if Smith Rowe had a forward, I tell you what, if Smith Rowe had a forward card, wouldn't be too bad of a Fulham stack, would it? I don't know if he does, or Wilson. Actually, Wilson is a forward card this year, no? So actually, yeah. So that Fulham stack's not that bad, to be fair. Hello, Mihai, how you doing? Oh no, it's not a forward card. Maybe he's had one previously? No. Why does it say forward then? Bit strange. Position. Oh, weird. Maybe next year he'll be a forward card. Might be an interesting one to get. If, like, hypothetically, that would be a good stack to have Wilson, Smith Rowe, Joaquim, Robinson, Leno. I feel like if you could get that as a stack, but obviously you need. Has Smith Rowe ever had a forward card? Don't know. Hello, Leeds missing a player this game. Yeah, the goalkeeper. Yep. Wilson has best SO10. Nice. No. So yeah. So I think from from we spoke about Leeds, obviously Leeds' perspective, they're laughing. Fulham not so much. So looking ahead at the fixtures to come then for Fulham, I think I mean they are at home. That's going to be a tough one against Brighton though. Tough one against United as well. I think in their next, let's just say, in the next 4 games here, they're probably hopeful for 3 points. However they come, maybe 4 points at a push. I think they'd be very happy with 4 points. Likely to be 3. Probably points against Everton or Brighton. Depends, what kind of Fulham we see turn up. And then, yeah, moving on to the next fixture, Liverpool versus Burnley, which was a mad one to see. Honestly, a mad one to see. But Statch in mid. No, yeah, we've already. You missed it, Mihai. We spoke about Leeds, but yeah, Leeds midfielder looking good, but no Statch. But their midfield, generally speaking, this season's been phenomenal, isn't it? If they stay in the Premier League, a big reason as to why would be their midfield. Hello, Theo. Hello, ABX. How you doing? Seeing as we've got a few of you boys in here now, I'll say what I said at the start. So I'm trying to reignite the streaming Sorare stuff community, whatever you want to say. So I'm going to try and stream, because of course previously we've just been doing deadline day on a Friday, but I'm going to try and stream Sorare 2 to 3 times a week. Monday 6 p.m. we're going to be doing pretty much a roundup of the weekend and scouting and looking to the future at some good buys. And it's pretty much just a scouting stream on Mondays at 6 p.m. Thursday, I'll be helping viewers with lineup builds. And then Friday, obviously, deadline. So I'm going to try and do 2 to 3 streams a week on Sorare, just so you boys know. And try and get the streaming Sorare back on the channel. I'm trying my best to get it back up and running. Hopefully we can do. Obviously not some weeks we might miss like a stream or two, but I'm gonna try my best to keep it consistently 6 p.m. on a Monday, 6 p.m. on a Thursday, and then deadline stream as well. So there we go. What do you think of Gibbs White at less than £5? Yeah, so this stream is the perfect stream for you boys to give me messages like that. Give me messages of like, who do you like? Have a look at this player, or what do you think of this player? This is going to be the stream for it. So Monday, if you ever want advice or me to look at a player or that sort of stuff, this is perfect for it. So Theo says, what do we think of Gibbs White at £5? I think pretty fucking good player, to be honest. Now, when I'm first thinking of like a player, I kind of like try and ignore, for instance, Gibbs White. I'll try ignore the price and ignore the scores in Sorare and think, do I think Morgan Gibbs White is a good player? Instantly, I think yes, he is a very good player, right? So then you go on to the next stage, which is okay. Let's look at his scores, right? Generally speaking, this season, it's outside of the decisives has not been the best, really, this season specifically, right? But then we have to take into account the extrinsic factors of why do we think he's been performing perhaps not as good this season, and you would largely put that down to the fact that the team has not performed well, right? Because look, when Nottingham Forest have or when he has played well, Nottingham Forest have played well, right? All of these scores here are obviously when Nottingham Forest were at their highs last season. But then we come to this season and it's like, okay, so then what does that tell us? That tells us we've got a player that is a very, very good player, perhaps in a very, very poor team. Does that inspire you to buy him or not? Kind of down to your discretion because, of course, if he then got a move, which extremely could happen, you know, if the Mr. Marinakis doesn't kill him off, he could get a move to somewhere else. But yeah, I think for £5 you've got a good player in a bad team. So as long as you're prepared to put a poor fixture in every weekend, that's kind of like your, do you know what I mean? That's kind of like your conundrum. Is like you could invest in a Gibbs White for £5, but you would have to accept the fact that every week you go to play him, the fixture's going to be shit. Because if we look at, like, let's just hypothetically look at Forest right now. So they've got Braga. Who cares? We're not really buying for this Braga game, are we? Brentford away from home. That's going to be a tough one, despite what you think of Brentford, they're a great team, especially at home. So that's going to be a tough one. Again, not saying he can't score well. It's just going to be a tough one. Europa League, we're not too bothered about, to be fair. Palace potentially could score well. Leeds, Wolves, to be fair, next couple of games are not too bad. So for £5, yeah, I don't hate that at all. Obviously, Liverpool's not ideal, and then yeah, a couple of poor fixtures. So then I would perhaps the next stage is sort of looking at what else could you get for that price, and then comparing. Do you know what I mean? So let's have a little look at Premier League midfielders for £5. Would you think do you think he would be the pick of the bunch? That's going to be the interesting part, isn't it? Let's have a look. So I'm just going to put £6 because this sometimes is not the most reliable. Okay, let me catch up on chat before we scroll through Premier League midfielders. Wilson has the best performance. Yeah, so in the full, yeah, you basically need to captain him. Yeah, for sure. Forrest is shit. Yeah, not wrong. Hello, mate. It's been a long time. Hello, Tebow. How you doing? Shaw, Paul fixture. United just trashed City. Yep. I know Marinakis from Greek football, as I'm a Greek, and he is the biggest mafia in the country, influencing almost every politics in football. Yeah, crazy, crazy. I'm on the third streak in La Liga for the first time. Nice, but the games are looking so rough for me. Ooh, yeah, maybe skip a week. So yeah, midfielders in the Premier League that you could get for £5. So you could get Idrissa, who looks like he scores insane for his country. I remember I remember last season he had a period of very good scores as well. Yeah, interesting. I feel like Idrissa is too old, really. How old is he now? Yeah, 36. So you're probably not buying a 36-year-old, despite him scoring pretty well, to be fair. Can't argue with that. Dewsbury Hall's a good one, but injured, of course. But he is like essentially nailed to play when he is fully fit and playing. Anton Stat you could get for similar price. Insane player, didn't play last game for some reason, but he's very, very good. But again, you would have the same dilemma of like he will always be playing for a team that is likely to be unfavourable to win their match. So yeah, I think I would prefer Gibbs White to Statch. Not by a lot, not by a long margin though. Nico Gonzalez probably out of favour now with Rodri coming back. Casemiro, no thanks. Janelt's an interesting one, isn't he? Wow. Janelt is very interesting. Look at these scores. So we'll ignore these because these are all off the bench. Look at this. So ignoring the Tottenham game as well. Wow, that's really good scores from Janelt. Let's have a look at this guy. German, right? Yeah, German midfielder. Okay, so where are we last season? Interesting. Not very good, but have we changed position perhaps? Janelt, central midfielder? Central midfielder? So he's played centre mid in a free system, but basically always. And here, where are we going? Okay, no, that's Jensen. Janelt was a DM. Interesting. Maybe just getting a bit lucky with decisives. No, so it's a different system completely by the looks of things, and he's just perhaps better to this better suited to this DM role as opposed to a centre mid role. To be fair, I think I would prefer to get Janelt to Gibbs White. Is that crazy to say? Taking a risk on these scores as a DM as opposed to and he's playing for a Brentford as opposed to a Nottingham Forest. Brentford 33 points, Nottingham Forest 22. I think I would prefer Janelt. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Similar price, I think, right? Yes, similar price. About £5. Interesting. Yeah, but Janelt scores like that because Brentford are on good form. Yeah, good shout. Which is my opinion. So sporadic and will fade away in some game weeks. I do not think they have the ability to continue this. What makes you think they don't have the ability to continue this form? Just out of curiosity. Because like let's just use your argument let's just take your argument of what you've just said there is you've essentially said because you don't believe Brentford are a good team, you think his scores will drop off. So we look at a 40 against Arsenal where they lost 2-0. Fair enough, that's a drop off, right? So I agree with you in that sense. But then we look at another unfavourable fixture, Tottenham, done well, 0-0 draw, 57. I'd argue that's a pretty good score for a midfielder. Chelsea, lost 2-0 and still scored 61. I don't know. It looks like, because you would say, I mean, well, yeah, I guess they're good. Well, yeah, I don't know. The only score that really contradicts your point there is the most recent one, because obviously they've lost and he scored 61. But yeah, I mean, so well, they play each other next game, so that'll probably be quite telling, wouldn't it? It'd be interesting to see who scores better in this game. Who do you guys think? Gibbs White or Janelt? Who will score better in this next game? Because I don't know. I mean, based on the evidence in front of me, I think it's one of them, isn't it? I think maybe perhaps like right now, I think Janelt would score better. But if you're asking me who would I think is a better footballer, you'd probably say Gibbs White, wouldn't you? So it's one of them. It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? I'd take those first five. I'd take those first five Forest fixtures. Yeah, Forest have got a good run, haven't they? True. Whereas Brentford have got, well, you'd argue. I'd say Forest are sorry, Brentford are favourites in this game because Brentford are at home. I would give the advantage to whatever team is at home in this fixture. Then you would say disadvantage, disadvantage, disadvantage. Bit of a 50-50 and then Brentford should be beating Burnley. So yeah, perhaps based on the next couple of games. But then you could argue Brentford have got so then okay, so this is what you would do hypothetically. Hypothetically, this is the best play you could do. Is you could get Gibbs White, right? Let's just say hypothetically. You get Gibbs White. This would be 200 IQ. You you get Gibbs White, you play him for this one, okay? You play him against Palace. You play because I'm thinking if you get Jan out for the 21st, that's the play, right? Because then from then onwards you have a good fixture Jan out. So so and then perhaps you sell Gibbs White before the Liverpool game. That would be the smart thing to do, if possible. If you could possibly do that, is you would use Gibbs White for Brentford, Gibbs White for Palace, Gibbs White for Wolves, especially Wolves because Gibbs White used to play for Wolves, so you think he might be doing well there, and against Leeds as well. And then, or maybe you depends on his price at that point. Because let's just say hypothetically Gibbs White scores against Leeds and scores against Palace, then his price is going to be up at really high against Wolves. You sell him just before the Wolves game to get maximum profit, and then you bring in Janelt for the Janelt's next set of games. That would be like the perfect situation, right? Because then you've got Janelt against Brighton, Janelt against Burnley. Then you've got him against Bournemouth, Wolves, Leeds. These are all games Brentford will be uh, competitive in at least. Even Everton, Fulham. They're all games that Brentford, you could see Brentford doing well in, right? Man U will be a bit of a tricky one because it's at Old Trafford. Then I mean, so perhaps then you try and sell Jan out before, but then again, saying that when there's only 6 games left of the season or so, the prices of the cards are probably going to be so low at that point anyway. But if you were speaking hypothetical, maybe you would sell Jan out just before the Fulham fixture, um, to get him out of your gallery by the time he plays against Man City, Liverpool, and Man United, maybe, perhaps something like that, or selling him just before. Yeah, because then he still would have some utility, so maybe still some people buying. But yeah, I think that would probably be the smartest thing to do, Premier League midfielder wise, at that budget, of course. But yeah. Um, yeah, don't know, but he does not give me confidence, if you get what I mean. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. I'd hate Villa, Newcastle, and Arsenal fixtures for Brentford. Yeah, yeah, I think most people would agree with you, Mihai. Hey Josh, how you doing? Hello, Diogo. Not too bad, mate. Yeah, but before Liverpool, his price will go down. Uh, Gibbs White. That's why I said perhaps sell him just before that one. Perhaps selling Gibbs White like here, just before. Maybe like selling him before the Wolves game perhaps might be the play. I don't know. I'm just saying like obviously it's completely up to you what you do. But I'm just thinking like from where we are right now, looking at the information that we have right now, that seems to be like the best strategical thing to do. Obviously, that could complete like next game. You could buy Gibbs White, and the next game Gibbs White gets injured. So obviously, that's not a good play. So I'm just thinking like from the position that we sit in now in a hypothetical situation, that seems like a good thing to do. But then again, you could buy Gibbs White and he scores a hat trick, and then you're like, oh, screw that, I'm just going to keep Gibbs White. You know what I mean? So, yeah, kind of up to you, really. Charter's also a decent one. Again, Brentford, I guess, depends on how. I guess depends really. Maybe I'd just put it down to the fact that who do you think is going to have a better season from now on? Like, from this point onwards in the Premier League, who do you think is going to have a better season? Brentford or Nottingham Forest? In my opinion, Brentford will, well, I think in most people's opinion, Brentford are going to have a better time of it than Nottingham Forest. But yeah, I don't know, because if we're speaking about like hypotheticals where you're saying, unless you believe Gibbs White is going to play well when Nottingham Forest don't, then I can't see why you wouldn't go Jan out. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Interesting. Um. Oh, Curtis Jones. Is he? No. I'm gonna say, is he back in the side then? I love Curtis Jones. Great player. Great player. Can't wait for him to get a move or just play more football. Yeah. Gibbs White there. Same. You could even like Grealish as well. Quite low at the minute as well, but I think Grealish is a bit of a, he's an on and off guy, isn't he? He's like either he's a 40 or an 80. You know what I mean? So I guess depends on what other players you have as well. Again, I think that would come down to who do you think's gonna have a better season from now on? Would it be Everton or again Forest? I don't know. It's just like I'm not really rating Forest, to be honest. I think that's why I would maybe not buy Gibbs White. I think that's probably why. I think having looked at, I think if I just looked at Gibbs White, then I think I'd be like, oh yeah, Gibbs White is a good price. But if now I'm looking at other players, it's put it into context a bit more, and I'm like, I don't know if I would. You know what I mean? Like I do genuinely think maybe Grealish and Janelt would be a better option. But yeah, maybe that's just my like bias towards Nottingham Forest not doing well. Do you know what I mean? Hinchelwood, is he back in the side? Not really, not consistently enough. Matoma? You could argue Matoma as well. How are we? Okay. Because I mean, he's kind of scoring the same as, he's kind of scoring the same as Gibbs White, really. Like, it's either he gets a decisive and gets 70, or he doesn't and he gets 30 or 40. Obviously, a lot of these are substitute appearances, so if we take out the substitute appearances, which would be quite a good feature if they could add that on Sorare, like take, like ignore substitute appearances or something, like as a filter, because we have home or away, right? But yeah, yeah. I mean, to be honest, again, similar price to Gibbs White. Would you prefer Matoma? They're about still doing. So they've got a game in hand. Actually, that's the game. That's the game they're playing tonight, aren't they? Um, we'll be able to see if he starts tonight. I'm pretty sure he will do. But yeah, if they hypothetically won their game in hand, then they would be close to this sort of absolute mess between what are we? We're, it just seems so like all the way from like Leeds to Man U or to even to Liverpool is 11 points. It's crazy, isn't it? You just go as soon as you go on a free win streak or something, you're just right up there. So yeah, hard to say really. But Brighton's fixtures, let's have a look at them. So this one tonight, you would favour them against Bournemouth. You'd favour them against Fulham. Everton might be a bit of a 50-50. Yeah, tough one against Villa. That's the FA Cup, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, they got a couple of 50-50s, really, don't they? A lot of them are kind of 50-50 games. Okay, yeah, interesting. I guess, to be honest, I think when it comes to Premier League midfielders, anyway, for that budget, I think you're best off just going with whatever team you think is going to do better or like improve, probably. That's probably the best thing to do. Um, Nottingham Forest have European football too. Yeah, but in my opinion, that makes me less. Well, it depends what you're buying for, because that then, in my opinion, makes him less. You would want him less because he's playing too much football. And well, it depends what you prioritize. Like, say if you play in the midweek and you're buying him to play in the midweek, then that's fair enough. That's fine. But if you're buying him specifically for a Premier League stack, that hinders him, in my opinion. Still window open, an issue for who? Me. Yeah, do not know if positive or not. It depends. If you're buying, that's what I'm saying. It's a positive if you're buying him for a mid. If you're buying him for midweek, then it would be a positive. But if you're only buying for Premier League competition, that is a negative. That is something. So a lot of these things, I will say, is a debate. It's kind of like, oh, what do you think? I'm not sure. That kind of like back and forth. But in my opinion, that is not a debate. I think that is a. I would heavily argue on the side of that being a negative. If you are buying for Premier League and they play midweek, that is a negative with nearly every team. And you know what? We can just to be honest, the evidence will probably be here. Not that I've looked at it, but okay, let's just say, where do they start the Europa League? Okay, the evidence is here in front of us, right? I'm just going to go from here because I don't know how far back it goes. But they play Midtjylland, they lose the next Premier League game. Okay? They play Porto, they lose the next Premier League game. They play Europa League, and they win the next one. So fair play. So that's kind of like one out of three. They play Malmo, they lose, so 1 out of 4. Oh my god, wow, that is impressive. To beat 3-0 after, okay, so 2 out of 5 is that? So in 2 out of 5 of their Europa League games, perhaps we can go back further. They've probably played more than that. No, they've only played 5. So in 5 of their Europa League games, 2 of them they've won off the Premier League game after. So statistically, you would say it is a disadvantage. I think we can all agree that it is a disadvantage to have midweek utility. So yeah, again, that would be a reason as to why I would prefer to have Matoma or Janelt or Grealish, to be honest. In my opinion, anyway. But yeah, like I said, it's all opinion based, anyways. So, you could go out. That's the thing. That's the beauty of this. The beauty of Sorare is like you could just be like, screw it, I like Gibbs White. I'm gonna go buy Gibbs White, and then he could play really sick, and then we'd just be like, yeah, fair play. You know what I mean? No one really knows. That's the beauty of it. But based on the evidence in front of us, we can give a good that is the judgment we could go off. But you need to include the rotation for Europe. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I play midweek too, but my main target is Premier League. So yeah, I would say in that case it is a negative if your main target is Premier League. I've just started Sorare. What do you think? Who can be the best budget Premier League goalkeeper? Good question. I will say to you, if you've just started Sorare, goalkeeper is always the most expensive position. So bear that in mind when you are scouting. And I highly recommend as well there's two positions on Sorare that you can't cheap out. There is two positions that you can't really go budget because it will probably hinder you more than it would help you. And why have they changed this? It's so confusing. Sorry, that took me way too long. There's two areas. So when you're building a Sorare lineup, there's two areas you can't cheap out on. Goalkeeper, because trust me, it'll come back and haunt you, and captain. So before you build your lineup, think about um, who do you think is a captain level player in your opinion? Just don't try and look for an alternative, just buy that player. And then, yeah, goalkeeper, do not cheap out on as well, because to be honest, there's not really any much point. With goalkeeper, you just want someone that is playing for a good team and playing consistently. So, with that being said, would be help if I filtered by goalkeepers. Let's have a look for you. In my opinion, the best goalkeeper right now, value for money. Instead of budget, I'll use the term value for money. Why is it showing me Kilman? Why is it showing me defenders? I've literally just put goalkeeper. No, okay, sound. I'm pretty sure I did just put goalkeeper, but I guess I didn't. Let's have a look then, shall we? Okay, so we've got. I'll catch up on chat quickly. Also, midweek prices are trash this season. Yes. Good evening, Mr. Flindle. How are we doing? Yeah, I'm not too bad. Alex, how you doing, mate? Dubravka. There we go. Dubravka's a decent option, but he is playing for Burnley, so you have to bear that in mind. I only play All Star midweek. It's so dumb. The rewards for every key. Yeah, never say. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I saw it. Thanks for the answer, Mihai. Filter issues. Yep. Alright, so the best goalkeeper value for money right now, you've got Dubravka's one of the cheapest. And to be fair, despite them Burnley inevitably conceding the clean sheet, doesn't seem to score too terribly, to be fair. It's not terrible. Not completely terrible. Petrovic is quite a jump, to be honest. Quite a jump in price. Yeah, honestly, Dubravka is a good shout. Is a good shout. But if you're talking about minimal spend, I think Dubravka I agree with. But if you've got a bit more, if you want like a mid-tier Premier League team, like one that you're thinking to try and win with potentially, perhaps, um, oh, yeah, perhaps. Oh, it's actually tricky. There's maybe Pickford is like the next best, to be honest, because Roofs is good. Yeah, maybe Roofs actually. It's tricky actually. I would say Dubravka value for money, £7 is not too bad, is it? Realistically, I mean that Burnley are arguably the worst team in the league, but he doesn't seem to score too bad. Bournemouth, Petrovic did start the season very well, but he just fell off. Because these scores are decent from Petrovic. He's kind of fallen off a little bit recently. Yeah, I think I would say I still think Petrovic is not too bad to be honest. But yeah, tough one against Liverpool next. And especially if he's half the price of Robin Roofs as well. So yeah, maybe Petrovic or Dubravka. Depends on who do you think's going to perform better, Burnley or Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth probably are a better team than Burnley, but defensively, basically at home, Bournemouth are good defensively, and away from home, Bournemouth are awful defensively. So maybe you can switch between the two. Whenever Bournemouth play away, use Dubravka, and whenever Bournemouth play at home, use Petrovic. Because look at this. So at home, Bournemouth have conceded 11 goals in 11 games. So you'd say that's not too bad, to be honest. That's okay. That's okay. Then you look away from home, Bournemouth have played 10 games away from home and conceded 29 goals. To put that in perspective, that is the worst away flipping defense in the league. So I'd say and Burnley are equally awful away from home. So maybe the best strategy here would to be to actually, and to be honest, for the price of it, you can buy both of them for the same price as a Robin Roofs. So buy Petrovic and Dubravka, and basically when either of them play at home, you put them in the first team, and if they both play away from home, then just cry yourself to sleep. That's probably the best you're going to get. You need to argue the defender. Oh yeah, defender. You do need to take that into account. Good point. João Goncalves. I choose two teams outside of Europe at the start of the season. Man United and Leipzig. Leipzig have been phenomenal for me, and I already know the team because they always play the same players. Nice, yeah, Leipzig are, yeah, I mean, Leipzig are a great team, aren't they? They are a great team. I mean, if you have Leipzig, you're probably wanting. Let me have a look. If I like, I'm gonna hypothetically. Let's just say if I owned a Leipzig stack, you're probably having Galashi, probably Raum and Orban, perhaps. Actually, Bundesliga is quite goal heavy, isn't it? So you're probably taking Raum, Galashi. So you probably want like double forward, maybe Nusa as the midfielder, Diamonde and Romelu maybe or something like that. Nah, you probably wouldn't want the striker, would you? It'd probably be best to have Nusa, Diamonde, double defense, Orban, Raum. Be quite a good little stack, wouldn't it? I mean, Diamonde, is he out injured at the moment? No. No, this is country. Yeah, Raum, Orban. That three would have been good. Diamonde. Oh, I would have personally, I would have had Noosa, and that would have been nightmare. I love Baumgartner as well. If I had if I had a Leipzig stack, I would have been so upset this game week, like in this one in specific, because I would have used Noosa, and I would have cried that Baumgartner played unreal because I love Baumgartner. I would have been like, no, why did I use Baumgartner? Not bad, thanks. How did your game week go? I'm not going to discuss my results over this game week. If you want to go and see them, by all means, go and see them. But I'm not going to discuss my results on stream because I tend to use my results for videos, so I don't want to spoil it for people that like to watch my videos. Brentford is fourth in home games and 16th away. Yeah. So yeah, Brentford the home team as well. So maybe that's the best thing you can do, Gurgly, if you're new, is just go for home fixtures. If you're going on a budget, just buy a bunch of Brentford players, a bunch of Bournemouth players, and a bunch of Burnley players or whatever, and just only play them in home fixtures. Unless they play Bayern. Yeah, Zhao Yu Portuguese. Yes, I would assume so. Goalkeeper. Yeah, Galashi, Raum, Orban, Baumgartner, Nusa, Diamonde, Romelu. Yeah, that's pretty much the players that you would rotate in, right? Yeah, not bad. Not bad little stack, eh? Diamonde is a great player as well, by the way. What a baller. I thought he was injured for a bit, was he? Is he still injured, or am I... Um, Or is it Noosa that got injured? Well, one of them got injured, didn't they? Oh, Noosa was injured for a little bit. Yeah, top players, of course. Of course, top players, top players. Scores, not scores, market, scout. But yeah, so I think generally speaking, to be fair, the let's have a look at Premier League fixtures next weekend, shall we? Let's see what teams are looking good for next weekend. And guys, what I see as a lowest price whilst listing, is it in season or not? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I don't know what that question is. What do you mean? Diamonde went to AFCON, yeah. We have to forget games against Bayern. I bought Diamonde for €17. He's now selling for 58. Yeah, fair enough. Did you see Schmid might be going to Leeds? I did see that. What a player! That would be a great signing, wouldn't it? Never saw him play, only Sorare scores, but always see people talking about how good. Yeah, he's very good. He's very good. I've only seen Schmid play. I think I've seen Schmid play twice this season, and he was very good. I watched him a couple of games last season as well. I don't watch every game that they play though, but I think Bundesliga is the league I watch the second most after Premier League. So yeah, Schmidt is a good player, so that'll be good. Fair enough. Completely forgot about ruining. No, that's okay, Alex. No worries. Well, I hope it was better than mine. Yeah, I mean that I always say that, Alex. There's no issue to me. Just that's the one bad thing I guess about streaming is that I mean I can speak about it, but just for the sake of like people that enjoy videos and don't want them ruined, I'd rather just say, it's just easier for me to say, oh, if you want to go and see, you guys can go and see, but I'm not going to speak about it on stream because I would obviously want my video to not be spoiled. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, but yeah, the Premier League next weekend. Let's have a little look then. So we've got West Ham against Sunderland. Let me know in chat as well. What is your give me your predictions as we speak about each game. So we've got West Ham, a struggling West Ham against Sunderland. I'm thinking at home as well, West Ham. And West Ham actually, well, they did score. Callum Wilson scored a last-minute winner, didn't he? In their game this weekend against Spurs. That is a great victory. But Sunderland have been very good, and Sunderland did win on this weekend as well. But Sunderland away from home, what are we thinking, guys? Sunderland away from home, usually not that good, right? It's 15th. West Ham at home, 19th. But Sunderland at home are obviously way better. They're unbeaten at home, actually, Sunderland. So fair play to them for that. That's a tricky game to call, isn't it? I think it's got draw written all over it for me. What do you guys think? Diamonde was in AFCON. Musa and Romero are injured. Yeah. Liar, you were well England. Yeah, I consider that English football. Mihai, but yeah. 1-1. You reckon? Yeah. Sunderland will win by 1 goal. Do you think so? So we're kind of saying 50, 60-40 Sunderland is what we're thinking. Think Sunderland wins? Okay. I'd say, yeah, 60-40. 60-40. And then we've got Fulham. Good chance of a Sunderland clean sheet. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Sunderland not the best away from home, though. So, we'll see. We'll see. Fulham against Brighton. That is also a very tough game to call, isn't it? I think you would give the advantage to Brighton, in my opinion. Not by much, though. Again, I think Sunderland or Brighton will win away from home, right? One of these two will win away from home. But saying that, Brighton is a lot less of a travel to London. Because think about it, Brighton to London is only like what, an hour or so? Sunderland to London is a good 6 hour drive. So yeah, um, I think that probably let's say that Brighton. I think in my professional opinion, a draw, West Ham, Sunderland, and probably Brighton to beat Fulham. That's what I reckon. Um, Sunderland has Burnley next. Oof, Brighton to lose. You think so? Great punt fixtures for Lafay. Maybe a defender. Yeah, true. 2-1. Fulham are in a lot better form also. Yeah, Fulham are a weird team, aren't they? Fulham are a weird team. They're so hit and miss. It's just like, what Fulham are you going to get? But yeah. Then we've got Man City against Wolves. Yeah, I think most people. Oh, I mean, saying that, Wolves are in the form of their lives, boys. What do you reckon? An upset? What do you think, lads? Because I don't mean to be that guy, but Wolves unbeaten in 5 games. What do we think? Unbeaten in 5. Man City just lost to their rivals, or is this like a wake up for City? Oh no, to be fair, actually, City are playing midweek against, and they're travelling. They're travelling to Norway. Hey, hey, I don't know, lads. What do you think? Because I don't know. Maybe a tired Man City against the mighty Wolverhampton on a 5 unbeaten. Oh, I might just have to buy a Wolves stack, lads. Beat Man City. As a Wolves fan, I know we are down. Wow, but this is interesting, Alex. As a Wolves fan, do you think you will finish bottom of the Premier League? Because my controversial take is that you will not finish bottom. I actually think Burnley are going to finish bottom. Controversial, I know. Brighton need to stop flashy plays. Nah, man, that is Brighton, man. That's their DNA. Should I get Mateus Fernandez? What question? I don't know. Should you? Uh, 10. I mean, he's a good player to be fair. Yeah, he's decent. The only problem is West Ham suck. But for £10, yeah. Is there better? Is there much better? That's what you got. That's what you got. This is what you got to ask yourself. If you're ever unsure on whether or not to get a player, just look at his price, do exactly what I've just done with the filters, and come into this screen and be like, is there anyone I prefer more than him? So, like, for example, Lewis Miley, clearly, basically the best player in the world, and he's half the price. So, realistically, you should just go and get Lewis Miley and just captain him every week because he's the best. You know what I mean? Nah, I'm joking. But yeah, based on this screen, Mateus Fernandez looks like a decent pickup, yeah. If we were to survive, how impressive would it be? Yeah, if Wolves survive, that would be impressive. I don't think you will, but would be impressive. I'm gonna be happy though because I predicted Wolves to get relegated, so I'm happy with that. Would it be up there with Leicester winning the league if they survive from this point? What do you guys think? I don't think so. That's not the same as Leicester winning the league. Um, Obviously not as good as Leicester. Okay, considering where they were at Christmas. Yeah, I think it's possible. Like the thing is, I that's what I'm trying to say is I actually think Wolves won't finish last. I think Burnley will finish last, but um, to survive is a bit of a long shot. Wolves have been playing a lot better. I think City is a revenge game. Does Gahey play? Yeah, Gahey will play. Not midweek, but Gahey will play against Wolves. Yeah, Wolves got more points from the last 5 games than the entire season. Yeah, but maybe a rotation. I think Burnley will get last also. Hey, there you go. 6 points, but Burnley are so bad, and Wolves will look to found. Yeah, and Mane. Yeah, Mane is. Oh, talk to me about Mane. What a player! Licking my lips at that man. What a talent! What a talent he is. Really, really good. He plays without fear. There is no fear in that man's heart, eyes, life. He's just like, screw it. I'm playing for Wolves. We're doing awful. I don't care. My name's Marnie. I'm the best player in the world. He's absolutely cooking. Fair play to him. How much do we reckon Solanke value is going to go up now he's out of injury? Not by a lot. I don't think Solanke's. When was the last time he scored well? Jesus fucking Christ. Even when he did play, this is awful. Yeah, I just don't like. I'm not a massive fan of. If I'm predicting it, is it maybe a tenner? Is that what he is now? A tenner? You're not paying more than a tenner for Solanke, are you? What's his price now? £5? Yeah, I think maximum he would be a tenner. To be honest, I don't think anyone's paying more than £10 for him. But who knows? I could, oh, I could be wrong. Could be wrong. Who knows? That's the magic of the market. And of course, if Solanke, scores a hat trick, he's probably going to go up higher. But yeah, I think we might finish 19th if we're lucky. It sounds like the management of the club has turned a corner, so I'm hopeful we'll be back after a season. Mm, maybe just that's depends on who you keep hold of. Because looking at the squad, it's like, because isn't is it Gomez that's linked with a move away already? Is it Gomez that's linked with a move away? I think so. But generally speaking, Sar is very poor. Mosquera is very good though. Bueno's decent as well. Krejci is decent. This Bueno's good as well. Mane's good. Andre's good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the attackers are decent as well. To be fair, good enough. Maybe if you just got a slightly better goalkeeper, um, and hold on to some key players, then yeah, I don't see why you can't come straight back up. But I assume players like some of these players would want to move on. Perhaps maybe like Huang's been there for a while, hasn't he? Perhaps he'll want to move on. Oh wow, he's only wait, yeah, he has been there for a while, no? Yeah, 5 seasons or so. So yeah, I haven't seen much of this man. How's he been doing? Tolu. Has he just signed? No, he's been there for a while. How's he been doing? Doesn't looks okay. I don't know much about him though. And I don't know much about this guy either. He's played a lot though, hasn't he? Yeah, I've seen him play a lot. How's he been doing? Not the best. Not the best. So yeah, perhaps the attack maybe needs a bit of. But to be fair, saying that in the championship, that's probably a pretty good attack. So yeah, we'll see, eh? We'll see. Um, can you give me a no? It sounds like oh, I read that. Apparently, we don't have any relegation release clauses, so we can demand some decent money for our players. Yeah, but the problem is you'll never be in a situation like that. You're never gonna be uh like well. First of all, that's good that you don't have any relegation release clauses, but still, you're always gonna be in the position where you're not in the driving seat of that negotiation, because like think about it from a realistic point of view. Let's just say Fulham tried to sign one of your players. Fulham are going to know that you need them, like that you're trying to. The player's going to want to leave. You're going to want to sell him, so that still puts Fulham at the they'll still have the leverage in the negotiation. So yeah, I mean still, but if you don't have relegation release clause, then at least you will still be able to get some. You'll be able to get better money from them, but maybe still not a crazy amount. But yeah, he should have, mate, should have bit Newcastle's hand off when they offered for Strand Larson, eh? But Strand Larson, he's just sitting on the bench nowadays, isn't he? Oh, he has scored this season. Fair play. 14 starts. Yeah, he's just not been that good, is he? Ah, he's scored 3 against Shrewsbury though. Come on. But yeah, on and off the field it looks like for him. I can't believe what the bid they rejected is crazy as well, because now they're gonna have to accept half the price that they rejected. It's a bit of a shame, but yeah. Oh well. Live and you learn, eh? Um, Tolu has only just started to get into the team. He has played okay, but playing up front for Wolves is as hard as it gets. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Elite, like I think Strand Larson made it look easy, didn't he, last season? But yeah, yeah, I totally agree. We won't be in the strongest position when selling players, but I still a better situation than for. Yeah, yeah, definitely. No, I agree with that. I don't think everyone will want to leave, but I've heard João Gomez. Is it João Gomez that's been linked with a move away already though? Who's trying to buy João Gomez off you guys? Because I swear I've seen that in the news. Hmm. I don't know where I've seen it. Maybe I'm tripping, but I thought I saw that in the news. But yeah, um, like I said, I mean, it's a decent squad to be fair. Just got to try and hold on to the players that will actually want to stay. I think the main people, in my opinion, is Mosquera, This Bueno, Mane, of course, and probably Andre. The rest of them, like, you would want to keep them, but it's not like the end of the world. And Gomez, obviously, but I don't know if he's going. At the time, it was the right decision not to sell Larson. I think the last minute Spurs equaliser played a massive role in our season. João Gomez has been linked to United, Atletico, and Napoli. Ah, that's where. Yeah. Oh, I think I seen him linked to Man United. That's why. That's where that's the one that I saw. I think. Do you know what? It's weird. It's weird, isn't it? It would be weird to see him playing for Man U. Don't really feel. I think he's good, but Man U good? Don't know. He's probably like that's what I mean. He's probably been one of your best players, Gomez, in my opinion. I mean, if I was Man U, be coming in for this guy, right? Nah, I wouldn't actually, because if he went to Man U, then it would ruin him. You know what I mean? They would ruin him. But yeah, interesting. Interesting to see where everyone lands. But yeah, looking ahead at next week, then let's finish off the last couple of games. Then we've got Burnley against Tottenham. Tottenham have been so just bad. Burnley at home as well. Honestly, weirdly, it's one of them. It's either Spurs smoke 'em or Burnley, or it's just like 0-0 or 1-0 Burnley. You know what I mean? It's just whether or not Spurs can score early, in my eyes. Because if the longer that game goes on, the more confidence Burnley will get. Bournemouth at home to Liverpool. Liverpool probably winning that one quite easily, despite Bournemouth being at home. Then we've got Palace against Chelsea. Again, Chelsea probably win that quite easily. Brentford against Forest. I think Brentford have a pretty big edge in that. Obviously, let me know if you guys have any different opinions, but I think Brentford probably have a good advantage there. Newcastle Villa kind of weirdly suits Newcastle because Newcastle always do so poorly against teams that would just sit off and play a low block. As well, first of all, Newcastle do poorly away from home, no matter who it is. But secondly, they do terrible against a low block, as shown against like every low block they've played this season. But Villa actually don't play a low block, so weirdly could be an interesting game. Yeah, obviously Wolves they're never good. They honestly Newcastle could have played Wolves for another hour and not scored. It tends to happen when they're away. Get same with Man U playing defensive. Burnley is probably the exception, to be honest. But yeah, generally speaking, Sunderland low block. Uh, Burnley just too shit. Everton came at them. They won that one. But yeah, Brentford low block, West Ham low block, snooze fests away from home, Brighton. But yeah, so weirdly, I think be a good game. I still don't know if I probably think it will be a draw, but I don't know to be fair. I think Newcastle will score at least against Villa. It's just if they'll win, I don't know. Maybe like a high score and maybe a 3-1 either way. um, Arsenal against Man U, probably a boring game, probably 0-0. Maybe 1-0 Arsenal. Apparently in the summer we lost with a total. We lost. Apparently in the summer we lost players with a total of 800 Premier League appearances between them. Yeah, I guess with Nuri and that. Yeah, the players we bought in had 0 Premier League games under their belt. I think that's better though. I think that's a better thing to do though. Go for players that haven't played in the Prem, generally speaking. No wonder we have been terrible. Yeah, I don't even. To be honest though, do you think you have been terrible? Because I think Wolves have actually played okay. It's just the results aren't there. Like I don't think. Okay, like obviously. Okay, let's ignore the past couple of games because they've got results in them. But like, I don't think some of these are even that terrible. Like 2-1 away at Liverpool, it's not that bad to be honest. Brentford have been decent, so that's not even that bad. Arsenal 2-1, best team in the league, is what it is. Man U, think of the amount of money they've spent. If they're not beating you, then do you know what I mean? That's embarrassing. Okay, this is a bad result against Nottingham Forest at home. So, like, if we're actually looking at it from an actual realistic standpoint here, out of all of these games on screen, I'm gonna count how many I think are bad results. Wolves against this is a bad result, so 1. I think honestly Brentford are not bad, so I'm not counting that one. So yeah, Aston Villa, great team. You're away, is what it is. At the time when you played Palace here, at the time that is not a bad result because Palace were unreal. Not scoring is a bit of an issue, but that is I don't think that's a bad. I would consider that a bad result, to be honest. I think the only issue with this is because it's the Prem. You do need to get that odd draw or that odd win in there. Do you know what I mean? That's why to me, this Nottingham Forest game is a very bad result because this is sort of the game you should be getting points in. to at least alleviate the bad run of form. And then we go before that. That's a bad result, I would say. 3-0 is bad. Even though it is away from home, you need to be at least competitive in this fixture. So that's 2 I'm seeing. Then 3-4 against that is what it is. 3-2 against Burnley at home. That's a bad result as well. So probably say 3 bad results so far. Sunderland away. It's not that bad, to be honest. Sunderland being so good at home. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's good. Obviously not in the Prem, but okay. 4 bad results. That's a bad one. Not that bad. Not that bad either, really. And I think that's the... Okay, then we got 2 more. I don't think that's that bad either. Bournemouth are good at home. And then Man City is Man City. So, in my opinion, honestly, I don't know. I mean, the results aren't good, obviously, but I'm only counting 4 bad games, in my opinion. But yeah, hey, I don't know. We'll see. The matches I've watched have been okay. Haven't been outplayed. Many times I've watched them seen. Yeah, that's what I mean. So yeah, from what I've seen as well, you've played all right. So yeah, we'll see. Then we've got Chelsea to win that. I think we spoke about that one. Brentford have the advantage against Forest in my opinion. Newcastle, yeah, I think 3-1 either way. I don't know which way though. Arsenal probably 0-0 or 1-0. Probably fall asleep watching it. And then Everton against Leeds, probably going to be the opposite to the Arsenal Man U game. Probably going to see a few goals and a good match. Maybe a 2-1 Everton, 3-2 Everton. Yeah. So there you go. That's a sort of Premier League preview roundup discussion and a bit of scouting on a Monday. And yeah, I think that is essentially what I want to be doing every Monday for the foreseeable future. Is I want to sort of just throw up the stream for an hour or two, scout out and talk about the fixtures over the weekend and look ahead at the future game weeks. And of course, if anyone in chat has suggestions or people they want me to look at and things like that, that is what I want to do in these streams. And then essentially on Thursday when I stream, I'm going to do the same time, 6 o'clock. That one will likely be a bit more of a longer stream where we help viewers build lineups on Thursday, and and then Friday will be deadlines as usual. So I think that is the idea going forward. I'm going to try and keep it consistent as possible. So 6 p.m. on a Monday, come in, discuss. If you have any, players you want my opinion on, then that would be a good time to do it. And then, like I said, on Thursday, I'll be back again helping you guys build some lineups. But yeah, if no one else has any players or things they want me to look at, then I'm going to be ending the stream off today. Appreciate all the support as always. And I will say as well, if you are in the stream listening, my video coming out tomorrow is probably my favourite video that I've made to this date that I can think of off the top of my head. I had so much fun making it. Great video. So if you remember, then be sure to check back out on the channel tomorrow at 3 p.m. when I release it, because it is a good fun video. I'm pretty sure you guys will like it as well. Because if that is the general consensus I go off, is if I enjoyed making it, then you probably will enjoy watching it. So that'll be a good one. And yeah, little spoiler, I guess. So yeah, if you guys woo, yeah, if you guys like Sorare videos, then be sure to come back on the channel tomorrow for that one. Thanks for the stream, it's been a good one as usual. Yeah, so like I said, just to recap, generally speaking, the streams hopefully from now on will be Monday 6 p.m, Thursday 6 p.m, Friday as soon as I wake up until deadline. And that'll be the live streaming schedule I'll try to stick to for the foreseeable future until something changes. And then, of course, the uploads will always be the same. The uploads will be Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday, and then shorts in and around it. So yeah, appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys on Thursday. See you later, Mihai. Thanks for the support, and see you later, everybody else. Peace.